It's Blepnir here with another team review, and today we're going to be looking at one of my favorite Pokemon in any league, Shadow SNEASLER. For now, I only have it built for the Ultra League, but luckily for me, this is actually the only Shadow SNEASLER that I've ever gotten, and it's pretty decent for the Ultra League. Still very squishy, of course. Shadow SNEASLER is one of the squishiest Pokemon you can use in the Ultra League meta, but so fun to use, and I found that the coverage moveset of Ghost, Flying, and Fighting helped so much. Almost everything in the meta is weak to at least one of those typings. And so, without further ado, let's see how the Shadow SNEASLER does in action. So we're pairing up the Shadow SNEASLER with Greedent in the lead, and Greedent has Trailblaze, which is actually going to be very handy versus this Poliwrath. But of course, we do save swap into the Shadow Shiny Gliscor, which has Aerial Ace, and you're going to want Aerial Ace for sure on your Gliscor just because there are so many fighters in the meta right now, and so many Pokemon in general that are weak to flying in the meta right now. So we shield up the Icy Wind, of course, and then they come in with Talonflame, and we can get to double Aerial Aces here, but you're going to see that I make a huge mistake. So I go for this first Aerial Ace. And then I'm thinking that I can make it to this Earthquake. I assume that I survive a Flame Charge and an Incinerate. But no, I don't survive the Incinerate. And I think that that's just my Gliscor's sort of suboptimal IVs coming to bite it in the ass. Because I'm pretty sure that a good ranked Gliscor could have survived that. But this is actually not the worst place we could be, because we can tank this Flame Charge, no problem, on Greedent. And then actually this Body Slam is going to put them into perfect range where we can take them out with Shadow Claws on SNEASLER. So honestly, the fact that they went straight Flame Charge is quite nice for us here because of the fact that we get this almost perfect farm down on the SNEASLER. They come back in with Poliwrath, and this is just a good example of what I was seeing, which was a team that could not beat SNEASLER in the back with an energy advantage. You know, them coming into the Poliwrath here is a sign that they are truly desperate. They do debuff me, but I can farm up to double Aerial Aces here, and they do catch, but they catch onto a Trevenant, and at this point, this should be a good game for me, because remember, I have Trailblaze on my Greedent, and I should get to a point where I can just take out the Poliwrath with the Trailblaze, right? Yeah, so we are going to farm up there. A really good farm for me on Greedent, and then Trailblaze will be easily enough to take out this Poliwrath, and this is why we carry the Trailblaze. Boom! Good game, Poliwrath. So next up, we have our Greedent into a Guzzlord, a very neutral matchup here. Guzzlord in general is favored in this matchup just because the combination of the Dragon Tail and the Dragon Claw is just such solid damage, and we're basically dealing no damage with Mud Shot. Still, we're obviously dealing a decent amount of damage with the Body Slam, but ultimately the Guzzlord is definitely doing more damage overall. And you see they actually go for the Crunch there. So Crunch obviously does more damage than the Dragon Claw. Luckily, we don't get a debuff. And so this is fine. They actually go into Annihilate, and we come in with SNEASLER. This is not a fantastic situation for me. Luckily for me, they don't throw their Ice Punch if they had Ice Punch. But unluckily for me, that Aerial Ace actually doesn't kill. I was so sure that that would kill. You know, it's a super effective move. Annihilate isn't the bulkiest Pokemon by any means. But luckily, we do take them down in the one shield there. They come in with Feraligatr. Shadow Feraligatr is probably the biggest threat to the meta this season. This is just a really good Pokemon. And we're going to let them take us out because they threw right when they got to their move. That's good for us. They could have farmed up a little bit more there if they wanted to. But now they can't farm down the Greedent. And this will not take them out. It will put them into body slam range. But they get to the Hydro Cannon here. And we probably just let this go. This is the name of the game with this team. You have to be willing to sacrifice the Greedent. And the Gliscor in the back gets a pretty solid amount of farm before they finally go back into their Guzzlord. I'm not quite sure why they're doing this, but they do reach a move. So this is not great for me. I think that I didn't time my moves very well, but honestly, even if I did time my moves correctly, I would still have had to take that crunch there. But we managed to farm down the Feraligatr in the back, and that is a good game. Yeah, so we were never in danger of losing that because we could farm down the Feraligatr with wing attacks. So next up we have Greedent into Cresselia. This would be a good lead if I had Crunch. But with Trailblaze, this is honestly incredibly neutral. The reason why is because we're able to Trailblaze right in the beginning here. We do want to Trailblaze in the beginning in this situation where we're kind of settling in for a very long matchup. Because, yeah, it's more expensive to get to the Trailblaze. It's less energy efficient. But getting that little bit of bonus to each successive body slam is definitely worth it. And you can see here that they went for the Future Sight, which is not great. Because they should be able to take us out with 2 Future Sights plus Psycho Cuts here. But we should take them out in 2 more body slams. No, they're actually not going to be able to take us out with 2 Future Sights, which is good. We do switch into the SNEASLER here. I'm not quite sure about this switch. I do shield up the Grass Knot, and I think that was a mistake because you can see here that they clearly have no answer to the SNEASLER. They come with Virizion, which is one of the worst possible answers to SNEASLER. And you can see here that so the thing is, Leaf Blade from Virizion does so much more damage than a Grass Knot. This Leaf Blade is actually going to put me into range where I get taken out by 1 resisted double kick, and I couldn't believe it. You know, that's just a wake-up call for me that SNEASLER is so glassy. But the good thing is that we are dealing double super effective damage with these wing attacks. The bad thing is that they do outpace me to double wing attacks, to double Leaf Blades, and I have to probably throw my move. But they switch into Tapu Fini, and this is not over by any means. We throw the Earthquake, and we come into the Greedent. They do throw their move here. Body Slam would probably not even take them out, to be honest. But now we suddenly have a win con, which is to get to this Aerial Ace, and we do, despite the fact that they're dealing super effective damage with their fast move. And incredibly enough, we are going to take this game because we do farm the Virizion all the way down. We live 1 Psycho Cut from this Cresselia, and I could not believe it. We probably could have won even if they went to the Cresselia instead of the Virizion, because I think they could have farmed down the Cresselia. But regardless, that was a really close game, and that's a good game. Next up, we have one of the worst leads we can see, the Annihilate. And then they switch into one of the hardest counters we can see, the Wall Rain. And this is pretty much game over right from the beginning, honestly, because we have the hardest counter in the lead. We have the hardest counter on the swap, but they shield. And that shield gives us a pretty solid win con, because we have Trailblaze that we can hit this Wall Rain pretty hard with. The Wall Rain is not going to be able to take us out with 3 Icicle Spears. And unfortunately, I do suspect that we will have to take 3 Icicle Spears here in order to get to 2 Trailblazes, which I think we need 2 Trailblazes to take them out. I don't think the Body Slam would be enough here. Yeah, it does not look like it, because Body Slam would not do as much as Trailblaze here. Trailblaze would barely be enough from this range. So we do need another Trailblaze. Maybe we can farm up a little bit. No, we chose not to farm up just in case I was miscounting. We probably could have done one more mud shot there, but that's okay. We do take them out. And then we switch immediately into SNEASLER. They have a chestnut in the back. And once again, this is a team that is insanely weak to flying in the lead and in the back. Singularly weak to flying in the lead and doubly weak in the back. That's a team comp that we definitely appreciate seeing. And so here we have Ampharos in the lead. This is a really good lead for us. There are two ways we can play this. We could go straight body slam and outpace them, or we could go for the trailblaze and increase our damage. Honestly, both have their benefits and drawbacks. We decided to go for the body slams here, and here I actually catch the move. This is not enough for a focus blast, so I'm not sure why I decided to catch here, but it's fine. We catch a thunder punch, which is good for us. We're expecting this to be just another thunder punch because they threw the first thunder punch pretty much immediately, but no, it's a brutal swing. So I guess that they were faking us out with that first thunder punch there. And we will go for an aerial ace here. This is kind of a bad throw, to be honest, because they do live this, but they were scared of the Night Slash. So that's very fortunate there that they were scared of me having Night Slash. They go for the brutal swing. They take me out with a brutal swing, of course. And then we have to decide what we want to do. We go into SNEASLER, and we have to shield once, but then we get a really juicy farm down. We get a farm down of 5 Shadow Claws, and with SNEASLER, that's usually worth a shield, but they come in with Galissapod. And this is really interesting here. We are scared of the aerial ace, so we're going to shield this. Because obviously an aerial ace would completely take us out from here. They go for an X Scissor. And now I'm thinking there's no way that they have X Scissor and aerial ace. They're just going to go for an X Scissor here. And we do get, we do survive just barely. But the problem is that, yeah, if they come with Ampharos, then we can just barely farm them down. So we're never going to get to 2 moves. I throw the close combat. And unfortunately, you're going to see here that they no-shield the close combat. So, just, wow, what a crazy series of events happening here. Because if I threw that aerial ace, this would just be completely game over. Because aerial ace would pretty much take out the Gallade. But here, we're facing the Gallade with the Greedent, and this is suddenly not a super great situation for them. Even though they have close combat, even though it's super effective, it doesn't take out the super bulky Greedent, and we do just barely take them out there, hanging on to a sliver of health. That is a very satisfying win, pure bulk win from the Greedent. I can't believe it. So next up we have Greedent into Poliwrath. This is a terrible lead, of course, and we go into our safe swap of Gliscor. We draw out a Greninja, and this is not the worst situation because we do live 1 Hydro Cannon, and I think that we do get to this next aerial ace. So we do live the Hydro Cannon. We're 2 wing attacks away from the aerial ace. And then they go for a Night Slash. So that is a huge bait call by us. Clearly they thought that they could take us out with a Hydro Cannon. Otherwise they wouldn't feel safe baiting. But here, you see there 2 Night Slashes don't even take us out with all the intervening Water Shurikens of damage. Which tells me that the Hydro Cannon probably wouldn't quite take us out. Although it would of course have been very close. So we have to no-shield this Hydro Cannon. It's not going to do quite half of our health, yeah. So, Greedent really showing its bulk here. Easily able to take 2 Hydro Cannons, and I expect them to no-shield this. They come in with Poliwrath, and they come in with Venusaur, and so, once again, we're seeing a team that is weak to flying in the lead and in the back. And with a team like we're using that has double flying coverage in the back, I should say, This team is just able to completely wreck the opponent's team because the Venusaur really had nowhere to go there in the end. It's good that they saved the Venusaur for the very end because of the fact that SNEASLER has such a good matchup versus Venusaur. We can shield or no shield. If we no shield here, we do just take them out with a body slam here. So either way it was safe for us, and that is a good game. So next up we have Greedent into Charizard. This is a negative lead for us because we're dealing next to no damage with our mud shots. Luckily for us, this is an Air Slash Charizard, so, you know, early season battles hitting hard here. I guess that this is how far down in the ELO pits we are that we're facing Air Slash Charizard. And this is really good for us. Air Slash is such a bad move that we can basically flip this matchup. The Blast Burn does not kill us here. We don't shield because we want to save shields for the SNEASLER and the Dragon Claw. So this is an example of them being so sure that we're going to shield and being caught off guard because definitely they did not intend for their Dragon Claw to not be shielded. Regardless, we do kind of have to go into the Gliscor here, and then they catch on to Avalugg, and I'm just thinking this is game over because Avalugg usually carries Ice Fang, but this one is actually carrying Bite, and this is the best thing that we can possibly see because Bite is such a bad move. It does very little damage, and it also generates energy incredibly slowly. They don't even get to a move here, which is quite a sad showing. And then they have Vikable in the back. So clearly this is a team that is far too spicy for my blood. I have no idea how they managed to make it up this high in ELO. Really impressed. Or maybe I'm just so low in ELO. Regardless, we get off this this Aerial Ace before they get to a move. Aerial Ace is going to do so much damage here. And then we go into the Greedent, and we are just going to let this go. Fly does not take us out here by any means. X-Scissor definitely does not either. I think that Fly does a little bit more than X-Scissor. But regardless, it would not take us out. And they have Crunch as their secondary move. So clearly this opponent knows what they're doing. You know, they're making a very spicy team with a very spicy moveset. But at the same time, I just don't understand how he can possibly win any battles with Bite Avalugg. Bite Avalugg is such a crazy choice for a moveset. And here I'm just showing off that I got a 5-0 in that set. Very climactic 5-0 that ended with the opponent with the crazy moveset there. And then we have to wait until we get to our next match.